How's it going? All right. How we doing, Rattlers? All right. Hello. Let's get some good lighting here. Solution. What's going on, Rattlers? Let's get a better view. There we go. How we doing? How's your soul? It's a beautiful day. Where are we? I'm in Payson. Had to think for a second. I got my rattle circle complete. My sharing circle complete. That was pretty nice. It's just holding the space for others can be challenging sometimes, especially when it's more of a, how can I say it? I'll share this with you. One of my cohorts, she was just kind of expressing some things that she's been going through, and my heart gets a little tender because I look at her as a little sister, and just to hear her challenges, I'm like, especially when you just wish you can help. But I think the best thing to do is really just hold the space. So anyways, we got it all done. I did it, thank God. And here we are. And where are we? This is Pit ER. This is a sacred vortex. If anyone knows, like, Abraham Hicks, funny story, I actually sat in the hot seat with Abraham Hicks, and the best way to explain it is like, if you've ever been on a roller coaster and you don't know when it's going to take off, and then phew, that's what it was like sitting in the hot seat and just witnessing the power of Abraham Hicks. It's very powerful. So, for those who do not know me, hello, my name is Death Rattle, aka Dr. Rattle. No, not a medical profession. I am a soul surgeon. However, I do have 20 plus years in healthcare, and that is what this is all about right now. This is the Rattle cage. And part of Rattle XR is being able to release your truth, but releasing it in a way where you're not being rude or disrespectful. That's not the goal here. And I want to make sure we're all in the right frequency. We vibe at a high vibration, so low comments, low projections, it's just not welcomed here. And what it looks like is like this. It's like you driving up to Wendy's and the, what do you call it, the window opener person opens up the door, and you in the driver's seat is cussing and pointing fingers like, where's the pizza? And the Wendy's workers are probably looking at you and they're like, don't you read? Don't you read the frequency? Don't you read where you're going? So this is not a circus. All right, this is not where we throw low, immature projections. It just doesn't happen here. And it's sad that we live in a world where that's the first thing people do. Are you gay? Is that your real hair? And why are you wearing this and why that? Ay caramba. This space is the space for anyone who's ever been judged. This space is for anyone who wants to just be, okay? So yes, you might see me wear pink hair. Yes, you might see me wear a crop top. You might see me wear Daisy Dukes, because this is where we have the freedom to do that, okay? And if you have issue with it, it has nothing to do with me. That's just your own personal thing that you're going through, which is fine. But here we are about kindness. Now, and if you're vibing with this medicine, you are more than just a subscriber. That's that 3D language. You are a soul. You are someone that has been bitten from the outside world. Part of the reason why I've created this space, because I have also witnessed not being able to feel safe or freedom in your expression. That's dangerous. And more dangerous, what is it doing to you internally? Like, we are supposed to move our bodies. We are supposed to be expressive, and not having a place where we can do that, that can be dangerous. So, earlier I was in the Rattle cage and I was talking about healthcare. Now, if anyone's in the healthcare, this is really something that might align with something that you are going through in the healthcare world. Or if you're thinking about going into the healthcare world, maybe you want to listen to this. It's hot. Let me take this shirt off. Matter of fact, we're just gonna go over here. Ah, that's better. Now, how this normally works is, no, there is no paper in front of me. No, I am not reading from anything. And no, there is no teleprompter on the screen. This is not AMAs where they have the words going when they win the awards. This is raw, downloading truth, things that I have personally experienced in my practice being in the healthcare field. And this is the space where I can rattle my truth, because no one really knows. Like, I tell my fiance, but before my fiance was even in my life, I was still going through just a lot of disgust in the healthcare world. So, what I was talking about last time was COVID. And COVID for me was very intense. Like I stated, but I'll state this again. I remember hearing about COVID, and it didn't really hit Arizona yet. I even remember Trump on the news talking about it. I remember a few doctors talking about it on the news, and I remember how just the people around me was starting to get fearful. And I also believe fearful, when you have fear in your body, that lowers your vibration. But not only does it lower your vibration, it lowers your immune system. So with that being said, you are more immune to get sick. So my process is like, why are we scaring fucking people? Pardon my French. Why are we scaring people? Why are we having people go into panic? Like, what is that doing? And it's just so mind-boggling, but because before COVID was even a thing, people were still going to the bathroom, not washing their hands. People were still smoking cigarettes, breathing in that air. People were still drinking alcohol, putting poison in their body. And now COVID's here. And yes, like I stated before, it was scary to witness, but we didn't at my personal facility, we didn't have deaths left and right like the news was saying. I probably had maybe two or three people that actually passed away from COVID. And on top of that, they were older, and they already had health issues, mainly with the lungs, respiratory. And COVID is a respiratory infection. So when it started to get serious, we had to start gowning up the PPE. And it was awful. We had these masks that we had to wear, and I remember feeling like my nose was getting cut off because I think they were called duck masks. But anyway, they have this mask on, and then you have this metal thing that goes right on the nose of your bridge, and it literally is cutting your skin. And then you're sweating to death because you're wearing all of these layers. You have, and this was awful. This was so awful. Awful meaning going into a room, you have to strip down and strip back up. Strip down and strip back up. And every time you had to leave the room, you had to do the same process. So, and then I think what really was touching to my soul is when family members couldn't come inside the facility. That was heartbreaking. And oh gosh, here we go with this. APX, gay question mark. What does that mean? How about, hey, APX, how are you? How are you doing today? Are you in the right frequency? Do you even know what gay means? We're moving on. We're not going to go there anymore. So, and I just want to, actually we are going to go there. How would you like it, APX, if I asked your family member, just seeing them, gay? Gay? Are you gay? You know what happened? I would probably lose my license. I would probably lose my job. But not only that, let's go deeper. What is it saying about you? Projections say more about the person who is projecting them. So the question is, what is really going on internally in your soul for you to ask? You're not even asking, you're saying gay question. I don't even know what that means. And I'll say this again, my sexuality is none of your business. Venom. So I'm talking to Venom. That's like me saying, what's your tax bracket? How much do you have in your bank account? How about you go live, and I want to take, sometimes I want to take a screenshot, because this is just crazy. It's crazy. It's sad. It's sad that so many souls are hurting, and they don't know how to have basic communication with people. And the first thing they say is gay. Is that what you say in real life? You just go up to someone and say, gay? Or do you say, hi, my name is so-and-so? Like, what is the difference here? I don't understand it. What it really looks like, it looks like cyber bullying to its fullest, because 9 out of 10, I'm pretty sure you won't say that to someone's face. Moving on. So during COVID, like I was stating before, I got rudely interrupted by a low vibrational projection, which has nothing to do with me. So we're moving on. When I went to Target to get some toilet paper, and again in the news they're making it, if you can only get one piece of toilet paper and one paper towel. So that was kind of surreal, because that is the type of stuff that you see on movies, like on Doomsday, End of the World, and everyone's just lining up, and then you have the Target managers outside and saying, you can only get one toilet paper and one thing of wipes. And I was just like, what is this? Hold on. Birdie, come on, let's get in your house. Come on. Go. Go. Come on. Okay, I had to put the dogs up. They're like kids. Does anyone have any dogs? Fuck. And Brody, my Chihuahua Jack Russell, he's interesting because he barks and then jumps in my lap. I'm like, I thought you were supposed to protect me. Anyway, so during the COVID, that's what we're talking about in the Rattle cage. So just seeing everyone line up and having to be in line, it just didn't seem real, but it was happening. So also during COVID, I was in a toxic relationship, and I don't know who's ever been in a toxic relationship, but they're not fun. And to go more deep into that, I'm a very loyal person, and I witnessed my mom at a very young age get cheated on, and I saw the pain that it brought in her. And honestly, to this very day, to this very moment, I don't understand, how does someone say they love you and then they treat you like crap? And I didn't understand, how is this man that's dating my mom, how is he saying that he loves her, but then he beats her like a rag doll? I don't understand that. But yet this is the same man that goes to church. This is the same man that talks about the Bible. And here we are. Interesting how that always plays out. And so I always had this very strong boundary, is that I'm loyal, I'm in a relationship, and if I'm ever cheated on, I'm done. Like, there's no, oh, I forgive you. No. Absolutely not. The boundaries are very clear. Like, I don't have a lot of boundaries, but one of them is respect, loyalty, honesty, and it's like this. It's like having this beautiful vase, and you accidentally knock it over, and yeah, you can put it back together, but when you put it back together, it's going to have all of those cracks, and it's not going to feel the same. And that's how I feel, like how I feel when I'm cheated on. And so I answered my ex's phone, just trying to be nice, right? And it was a Facebook message, and I was kind of curious on why someone from Facebook is even messaging my fiance, but okay, you never know. And so, Rattlers, I picked up the phone, and it was someone doing something naughty. on that. And they were looking for my ex. My heart literally fell at my stomach. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And so, yeah, not only that, and I have compassion. You know, this is not putting down anyone. It's not about that. But I believe life is an experience, and I believe we go through things. And when we go through those things, I feel, okay, what do we learn from that? What are we going to do differently? And man, I learned so much from that relationship. One, I learned not to rush. And I believe, I get it, you know, people have love at first sight, beautiful. That's so beautiful. But there's also people like you and I who are watching that doesn't get it right the first time or the second. And hopefully the third, right? But you learn. I learn. I have been learning through my relationships. Was I perfect? No. And this vortex, this channel is all about not being perfect. It's about being human and learning and growing, and how do we become better in this avatar that we have. And so, but I never cheated. Like, that is just, I just can't. So anyway, I believe, okay, here's the thing about me, Rattlers. I'm a hopeless romantic, and like I said, I love Mariah Carey, and I would just listen to her songs. My all, always my baby, like Mariah, she gets it. And so just being in that space where you want someone to be your best friend and someone to have crazy adventures with, and someone you can just connect on a deep, soulful level with, and to laugh until your stomach hurts, and just feel so elevated around that person. And my personal experience was that developed for me when, one, I stopped looking for relationships. And I remember my friends will say, stop looking, and it'll happen when you least expect it. And I'm like, yeah, right. Easier for you to say. You have a relationship. But now I get it. So, yes, my ex, we jumped really fast, and it happens. It doesn't make my ex a bad person. It doesn't even make me a bad person. I don't think anyone's bad. I think we just have a lot of suppressed energy, a lot of trauma, and we don't really know how to release it. And here we are. And I remember working on the floor, and this is still during COVID, and I was going through a divorce. We got married so quick, and we just missed it where it considered not to be an annulment. An annulment is you're married for a short period of time, and it doesn't count like a divorce. They call it an annulment, and it kind of like never happens. So I'm at work, and I get served the court papers. And I'm like, fuck, this is really happening. And, oh God, I remember that relationship. Like, I would go in the bathroom and I would cry. Like, I would call my friend, Araya, she was a therapist, and I'm like, girl, like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Like, why is this relationship hard? A relationship should not be this challenging. Like, you shouldn't continually do this. There's something that's just not right. And a part of it was we both have alcohol in our system. So do you think when we both have alcohol in our system, do you think we are using the proper coping skills? No. Do you think we're probably talking to each other calmly and respectfully? No. But how can I say this? When I used to drink, I wasn't mean. I would fall, like I was clumsy, but I was very like I am now, like very outgoing and like live life to the fullest and still treat people with kindness. And I don't even know why I was drinking. Like I didn't need to drink to feel alive in my body. I think part of the reason why I was drinking because I wanted to fit in with my peers. And I didn't know how they would get to the level that I'm at without drinking. So my ex had a big drinking problem, and that didn't really go well. And my ex didn't want children, but didn't want children, but the last partner wanted children, and so they got children. And then when they went their separate ways, my ex was stuck with the child. Now imagine that you didn't even want to be a parent, but your partner at the time did. So then you guys get a child together, and this child had, they adopted this child, and let's just call the child Christian. And Christian had a lot of behavioral issues. Christian wasn't doing good in school. I think Christian, what grade was he in? I want to say 6th or 7th grade. That's me stretching it. But in Christian, I don't know if anyone has a kid like this, but just all they wanted to do, drop off the backpack, run upstairs, and just play the video games all night. And I'm thinking to myself, does Christian not have homework? And then when the report cards started to come out, Christian wasn't doing good, a lot of Fs. And this is kind of where my co-parenting started to rhythm into the relationship. I would try to help Christian with homework and try to have, oh God, it was just awful. It was awful. Parenting is hard. Step parenting is even harder sometimes, especially when you don't really have a rapport with the child. And I tried very hard to have a rapport with the child. But oh my gosh, Rattlers, when Christian and the parent, when they would collide, you would think there were two adults going head to head. But really, what it really was an adult going head to head with a little child. And I can't tell you how many times I had to intervene. So yeah, I was going through a lot. So that was challenging. I think it was also very draining on our relationship because Christian really needed attention, and Christian needed a lot of redirecting, and there was no stepmom or anything like that. Of course, the grandparents, but no, yeah, Christian really needed some support. And so yeah, anyway, so I'm at work, and I believe I literally just got done talking to one of my good girlfriends, Lakeisha. And normally I'm a private person, and when I'm at work, I'm at work. I go in, I do what I need to do, because in healthcare, there's really no time to do anything else but to do your job, because at the end of the day, you're taking care of someone's life, and anything can happen at any time. And I always kept that in front of my mind. And that's why I didn't really understand, how is there time for gossip? How is there time for people to talk crap about other people when we have lives to take care of? So anyway, So I get served at work. But before that, I was talking to Lakeisha, and I was just telling her, I think I might have to divorce my ex. Like, I don't know what to do. The relationship just feels so toxic and draining. It was draining me, Rattlers. And so I just started crying, and I'm not really an emotional guy, and there's nothing wrong with emotion. Emotion actually is very beautiful, especially for us brothers. Um, and so, but that day I was just really emotional, and it was challenging. If anyone's ever gone through a divorce or had to leave a relationship that was toxic, I mean, of course I love that person, but just because I love that person doesn't mean I need to stay in a toxic relationship. So I got served at work the divorce papers, and that was tragic. That it was like getting hit by a train, and I was trying my very best not to break down at work, but it's rough. If anyone's gone through a divorce, it's not easy. Billy, what is what the F? I don't know what that means. Please read the frequency and have a complete sentence. Anyways, so after that, I knew it was done, and I still had my clothes there, and I was like, fuck, dude, like, this is not good. One, I don't like depending on people. Number one, I've always been that way, especially when it comes to relationships. I like to make sure I can stand on my own without X, Y, and Z. And so I went to stay with my friend Araya, and I think where I was really hurt is that I wanted to rekindle, because I believe a lot of relationships can last if we just have the proper communication, and if we learn how to not try to fix, but just to listen and to hold the space. And I don't understand how, like, yelling does not feel good to my vocal cords. I don't know how people do it. Like, I do not like yelling, and I don't understand when we are yelling, how are we even hearing each other? So just to have a nice, healthy communication is very important, but it wasn't demonstrated in my life. Well, in my past relationships, it wasn't demonstrated in school. Like, I had to really learn all this by myself, but also witnessing at a very young age of the type of relationship that I don't want. So I moved out my ex's house, and I was staying on the couch for like a couple weeks, and then I told myself, I think I'm gonna put myself through nursing school. I'm kind of over the CNA life. I'm ready to make more money, and I know I will be a really, really good nurse. But growing up, I was told that I was stupid and dumb. I would get plucked on the head. I would get hit on the head. So that constantly kind of swims to the back of your mind. And I told myself, no, like, I'm ready to be a boss ass bitch. But even with that being said, you don't have to go to college to be a boss ass bitch. No, like, your soul, like how you carry yourself, especially when someone writes a comment, what the F? Being a boss ass bitch is not going down to their vibration, understanding your truth. That's a boss ass bitch. Because how many boss ass bitches do we know that lower their vibration to meet someone else's? Not here. So I was telling myself, okay, I'm gonna go to nursing school. This is really gonna happen. I need, has anyone like, when you did leave your partner or your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, we don't judge. It's all love here. Love who you want to love. I love that. As long as it's legal and it's safe. um, but I was telling myself I need to not necessarily have a distraction, but I don't like to have a pity party, and I've always been that way. But this was a low blow. Like, I really did like this person, and to kind of feel like you have to start all over again, and I was automatically telling myself, I'm done with relationships. Fuck relationships. And I knew I needed some type of sign, like a sign where I don't want to like cry anymore, and that was the sign: go through nursing school. And so I got enrolled, and one of my buddies, he was an RN, and he was dating someone that was getting ready to go into nursing school. Long story short, I broke up with my ex in August of, I don't know, three or 4 years ago, and I started school in September, just like that. Like, no more pity party, bitch. You gotta get yourself to school. And I got enrolled, and everything seemed to work out the way it was an easy, smooth sailing. But I was in school full time, working full time. That was hard. And if anyone's ever gone through medical school, nursing school, you know that they don't mess around. It's literally quiz, test, project. Pop quiz, test, project. I mean, it's a fast fucking course. And so trying to balance school, trying to figure out my living situation, because it was only temporarily when I was living with my buddy Preston. And not only that, I like having my own space. But anyway, one of my buddies came back into my life, and let's just say a friend came back into my life, and that's what we were to begin with. We were friends, and I ended up moving in with my friend. It was interesting. It was one bedroom, and then I was sitting on the couch, and it was just a lot. Like, nursing school, it was not easy, and just dealing with everything else outside of nursing school was a lot. And I remember clinicals, and I was really shocked when I heard this nurse. This was her words: I don't train students on clinicals. And my mouth dropped. I literally looked at my friend that was with me, and I said, God, what was my friend's name? Susan. And I was like, Susan, she literally said that she does not teach students. And looking at the big picture now, I understand. I understand that when you clock in, your license is on the line, student or not student. Your license is on the line. And so maybe she said that because she didn't want to worry about the stress. I don't know. But I was just shocked because in nursing school, they don't teach you that. They don't tell you, a nurse will tell you they don't teach students, or they don't tell you that nurses are not always going to help you. They don't tell you these things. So I was shocked. And then with COVID, I was also shocked that they were telling us that we had to get vaccinated, or if we didn't get vaccinated, we were going to get kicked out of the program. What? because I won't take a freaking shot, you're going to kick me out of the program. How does that make sense? And how do I even know this this shot is safe? COVID is brand new, and this medication's out already, but yet they can't come up with something for HIV or cancer. But just like that, they can come up with COVID cure. Okay, cool. Still confusing as fuck, but okay. So I had an option. My options were I can fail nursing school, all because I won't get a shot in my arm, or I can just suck it up, get the shot, and hope all is well. So what I ended up doing was I took the shot, and I thought I was on my deathbed. It was awful. I was getting ready to go see Duke Dumont in California, and I got the little card that says COVID, blah, blah. And God, that was fucking intense. But anyway, I just remember feeling very achy. I felt very weak. I literally thought I was dying. Like I need to go to the hospital. It was awful. And so obviously I'm still here, but just that whole experience, and it's almost like going against your free will, but that's healthcare for you. So anyways, I got the vaccine, and school was school, and towards the end of school, I don't know how I fucking did it. Like, I would school, work, gym, and I loved going to this workout class called the Madison. It's like it's a spin class, but it's not just any spin class. It's like party on a bike. It's they have these really cool lights, and they have the instructors are playing really cool music, and sometimes they have themes like Britney versus Christina, and we would get down. Like, I miss doing those classes. But yeah, nursing school was a joke. And towards the end of nursing school, I had my life kind of just flipped upside down, Rattlers. I remember driving home, or I was driving somewhere, and my aunt called me. And she said, hey, she would always call me, hey, hun. And she's like, hey, hun, where are you at? And I'm like, oh, I'm just driving. And she's like, are you able to pull over? And I always said, yeah. So I remember just like yesterday, I pulled into this, freaking flies all over me. I pulled into this little, I don't know what it is, like this building center. And my aunt told me that my father was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. Let's go inside. Trying to find good lighting. Fuck it. Okay, so my father was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. And let me just talk about my father. Amazing soul. My father was someone who loved me for who I was and loved me unconditionally. And that is something that and that's part of Rattle XR, is loving you unconditionally and giving you permission to express. So, when I found out my father had stage 4 colon cancer, I almost didn't want to believe it. Let's go back outside. I almost didn't want to believe that my father was diagnosed. Because one, it's very fresh. Nursing school, we're talking about cancer, we're talking about all of the things, and it was just like, whoa, this can't be real. Like, this cannot be happening at this time. I'm going to graduate nursing school, and I'm finding out my dad has stage 4 colon cancer. What? So, I believe I called my. I'm trying to remember. It's a little foggy, but I believe I called my dad, and my dad was just saying, "I'm good. I'm okay. I'm gonna fight this." And I talked to my dad every Tuesday. Well, majority of Tuesdays. Tuesday nights, I would call my dad. I used to work at a club called Charlie's, and it's interesting just watching the horses. Anyway, so my dad and we would talk, and my dad did not like me being a go-go dancer, but I needed the money, and I really did enjoy the dancing aspect. You would be on a box and you just move, which I loved, because movement is my medicine, and just being on a box for 4 hours was like being in paradise. And no, I didn't drink when I was on the box, because people can slip some things in those drinks. But yeah, every night I would talk to my dad on Tuesday, and we would just chat. And when I would talk to him, he would tell me his ear was hurting, or he's having a lot of abdominal pain. And I would always say this, "Dad, you need to go see a medical doctor." And this was my dad's famous line, "Son, I'll go tomorrow. Tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow." And Rattler's tomorrow ran out. And eventually, all of our tomorrows are going to run out. But somewhere at that time, I had faith that my dad was going to fight this. A little bit of faith, only because my dad did not move his body a lot. My father was also an alcoholic, so he would drink a 24-pack of beer, and he also would do chewing tobacco. And so his body was already not in the best condition. So when you get diagnosed with something like stage 4 cancer and you don't take care of your body, that's not good. So I remember having a little graduation party at my condo in downtown, not a condo, pardon me, my apartment. And I remember having my dad see my place, which was so beautiful because I was on the 18th floor, and to me, that was just so humbling and rewarding because I never thought in a million years I would be able to be in a space like this as a steward. And it was very humbling to show my dad of, look what your son did. So that was nice. But my dad was in a lot of pain, and he looked pregnant. But all of that was built up BM in his abdomen. So I graduated nursing school, and I was ready to take boards, and I was asking my friends, what program should I use? And people were saying different things. People were saying, use UWorld, Archer, and there's this Nurse Regina. And my friend Nasinya, she was like, I just used the quick facts. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, just memorize all this and you'll be good. One, I did not know the NCLEX was going to be the NCLEX. Two, I like that book did not help me at all. part of it is my own just not studying properly, I feel. Just trying to memorize shit is just not the way to do it for boards. But I also feel like I was not really focusing either. Just finding out about my dad and trying to just figure all of that out. So anyway, oh, and also the stuff that was going on with my friend, my roommate. My roommate really started to have a crush on me and wanted to be more than roommates. I just wasn't about that. So I took boards, fucking failed that bitch. And I'm like, when I walked out and I said, what the F was that? What? They asked questions like, an example, what's the orangest orange? Is it A, orange, B, orange, or C, orange? It's just, they're fucking mind tricking ass questions. But so I failed that bitch, and then I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna take that shit again. But after you have to wait 45 days to retake it. So I'm like, okay. I took a break, a month break, because there's just a lot going on, and I really wanted to make sure I was focused and ready to take the boards, and wanted to get more data on what is the best, study tool for this beast, the NCLEX. And another thing though, when I was taking the NCLEX, there was a lot of questions that I necessarily didn't understand. And the questions were like, perfect scenario questions. And Rattlers, I am not new to healthcare. And those questions don't match up the real world in healthcare and hospital settings. There are questions like, oh, if you have a, let's just give an example. What is the question? I was basing the exam off my own personal experiences. And I'm like, oh, in the fucking perfect world, I'm looking for help. In the perfect fucking world, I'm looking for wipes, I'm looking for equipment. And I feel like I'm getting, it's like a scam. And this is how I look at it, because how boards works is, it's the perfect world, Rattlers. In the perfect world where you have all the staff, you have all the equipment that you need, you have nurses and doctors that are really there to be nurses and doctors, not dictators, not someone just to wear a cool stethoscope around their neck and say they're a nurse or a doctor. I've seen it, and it's scary, because what they don't tell you in nursing school is that you are responsible. You are responsible for a patient if it falls back on you. And honestly, that is a lot of fucking stress, especially when you are short-staffed, especially when you have family yelling at you, or not all the patients are rainbows and butterflies. You have violent patients, you have patients that are just going through stuff. And for you, the healthcare professional, you're supposed to take those beatings. You're supposed to take those whippings, right? And then think everything's all hunky-dory. You know, it's interesting, because I've realized when I was going through my spiritual awakening that the human body is priceless. And we are getting paid fucking pennies. So the second time around for my boards, I was not using Archer. I was not using Rena. And everyone studies differently, but I'm more of a visual type of guy. Like, I like to watch the videos. I like it broken down, like ABC 1, 2, 3. And this time around, my father's cancer was actually, he was going downhill. And I wasn't expecting him to go down so quickly. So we Found out he had stage 4 cancer early September, and he passed October. Just like that. October 3rd, I believe. And so this time around, my father was in Chandler Hospital, and I would visit him. And I was still having my issues with my roommate, and that was just getting interesting because that's when I started dating the person that I'm with now. And so there's just a lot going on, Rattlers. And clearly, if you're getting ready to take boards, just make sure, from my personal experience, that your mind is clear. You have no drama, and that you can really give it your all. Because the NCLEX is a beast. But anyway, so what was I saying? Okay, so my father was in Chandler Hospital. So right before they discharged him, my father drove to the emergency room. He drove to Chandler Hospital, and they admitted him. And so right before they were, I don't know, I think he was there for like, I don't know, a week. And the day right before they were going to discharge him, my dad wanted me to drive his car to the condo. And Rattlers, I got into his car, I started crying. Because it's a lot. Like, it's a lot. I was already going through a lot, mentally, physically, emotionally. But then my dad being sick and seeing that I don't know if he's getting better. And this was the man who loved me unconditionally, right? And to lose him was like, I can't lose this man. So anyway, so I got into this car and I just broke down. I called my aunt. I started crying. I said, there's BM everywhere. He had an accident. When I say accident, he had an explosion. His bowels were ruptured. There was BM in the car. My dad just let himself go. And with depression, that happens. Depression is real. Anxiety is real. Loneliness is real. All of it is real. People actually go through this stuff. Not knowing who you are, that is real. Having someone hurt you mentally, physically, or emotionally, and not being able to heal from that. So, I got in the car, like I stated, and I just needed a moment. I thought I was gonna throw up. Like, I have a pretty strong stomach, but just, I think part of it, because it was my dad, like, wow, like this is the same man who would do this and throw me in the air and catch me. And this is the same man that got on the school bus when I had chicken pox and picked me up and put me over his shoulders. And now you're telling me that this man, my father, is on his deathbed? What? So I was angry. I was really angry with the people who created alcohol, very angry. And I was even getting more angry at the systems that promote alcohol like it's fucking water. Because what they don't tell these people, oh yeah, in 5 years from now, you might be looking like that. Or you might have, what do you call it? Scarring on the liver, alcohol poisoning. You might have all that. You might get a DUI. You might break up with your partner. You might cheat on them because you have alcohol in the system. Did they tell you that on the beer bottle or on the alcohol bottle? No, of course not. Why would they do that? Why would they want us healthy? Because if we're healthy, what do you think happens to the healthcare system? So, my dad was going to leave Chandler Hospital, and I wasn't ready to take care of my father. Either was my aunt, and I thought he could gain the strength because he was really, really, his spirit was there, Rattlers. Like, my dad really wanted to move his body. He really wanted to get better. And so we put him in it's not really a group home. It's more like, I don't even know what the fuck you want to call this place. It was a disaster, what it was. It's like, it's a house, and there are like 3 or 4 rooms, and you have a nurse that's there, and you have a caregiver. God bless them. I don't know what caregivers do, and I mean that as a deep question, because from what I was told, that caregivers can't do this, they can't do that, and they can't do this, and basically I'm like, you're not allowed to change. Like, technically it was a nurse's job to change my dad. But this is where another thing that bit me in healthcare was, I remember calling this nurse on the phone, right? And I was asking, how is my dad doing? And she said, your dad's doing good. And I said, she was saying he's in really good hands. And I'm like, okay. And I told her, I just graduated nursing school, and I'm getting ready to take boards again. And I was already dreading that shit again, like to sit down and like to study. But anyway, so I'm like starting to get ready to study again for boards. And this time I was going to use Archer. And my aunt calls me and she's like, I think you need to go check on your dad and to see how he's doing. And I was like, okay. So I drive up to, I think he was in Mesa. And so I pull up, and I was disgusted. And this is what I saw. I saw the caregiver sitting down, watching TV, on the phone. What a shocker. And then, of course, the LPN, it doesn't matter, like, a nurse is a nurse. The nurse was nowhere to be found. And I went in to see my dad, and how do you think his care was? Sitting in a soil brief. Why? Trash can with hasn't been emptied. Why? Hair not combed. He has dandruff in his hair. His face hasn't been washed. And my question is, why? Where's the nurse? Right? But who am I? I'm not a nurse yet, right? But fuck. I would never leave a patient like that. So I was very angry, and I had a sick pit feeling in my stomach, and I was really angry, Rattlers. I was angry at the nurse. I was angry at this stupid healthcare system, because CNAs are looked down upon, and we do some hard effing work. And I'm not saying nurses either, but why this division? Division. Wouldn't it be cool if they had a level 1 nurse, aka maybe a CNA, a level 2 nurse, an LPN, a level 3 nurse, RN? Because technically I don't even want to fucking pass meds. No way. So I talked to my father, and I can tell the cancer was really starting to get to him. And his wish was, I want to be in my condo. And I said, okay, let's do it. So I talked to my aunt and I said, okay, we're going to get him out of here and we are going to take care of him. We're going to call hospice, and I'm going to take care of my father. And that is exactly what I did, Rattlers. It was so... How can I say this? It was very rewarding to take care of my father. I gave my father the best care, and I would give this care to any soul. And that felt good in my soul, that I know my dad is getting the best care. I know that I'm cleaning his nails, rotating him, giving him what do you call it? Can't even think right now. Haloperidol? No, Haloperidol. Oh, no. He was taking morphine. That's what it was. Morphine for the pain. And it's not easy seeing anyone in distress, but God, to see my dad in pain, and he would say, like, I think one of the most challenging things were he wanted to get up. And I was trying to tell him, Dad, I don't feel that you're strong enough right now, because he wanted to walk to the bathroom. Just something so simple like this. Oh, gotta go to the bathroom. Let's go, right? Let's go to the bathroom. No, it wasn't like that for my father. And so my dad was also getting a little angry at me because he was like, I need to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, okay, all right, Dad, let's go. You want to go to the bathroom? Let's go. Let's go. I'm right here to support you. Let's go. And this was my dad. And it was, son of a bitch. God damn it. That was the battle that we had to that I had to go through, and it was very very heartbreaking. And it's a mind fuck, because I was literally talking to my dad a month or so ago, conversation on point, and then 2 weeks later he's sending jibber jabber, like when they put him on chemo. Oh my God. I was getting letters. I was getting texts. His text would look like JKLNWPR. So here I am. My aunt and I we're rotating, and I would do the night shift. So my aunt would do the day shift, and then I would come on and do the night shift, still trying to study for fucking boards. And I thought it would be easy because my dad would be sleeping and I can just stay up and just study. And no, absolutely not. It was very difficult to study, and because my dad would want to go get up, or he would just wake up, and I just had to reassure him. And I feel like these stories happen often, and the story is like when someone's getting ready to transition. And again, I don't know if there's any hospice healthcare workers watching, but it's like the body knows when they're getting ready to transition. I feel my dad was talking, and I feel like he was talking. I feel like my grandmother was there, and my grandpa, which were my dad's parents, and my dog Brody. He was acting interesting, like he was underneath my dad's bed. And it was just interesting, and the energy felt different. And My dad, I know he was getting close to death because he started to have that rattle in the back of his throat. I'm like, oh no. And I was literally, okay, so my father passed. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. Rattlers, I don't know what I was thinking, but it is what it is. I was taking my boards on a Tuesday. My father passed on a Monday. Monday, I believe he passed at, I want to say, I know it was 7 a.m. I don't know if it was like 7:03 or 7:02 or whatnot, but I witnessed him take his last breath, and that alone was a gift. Because I also understand that there are souls here that don't get to say their final goodbye. And that's why I'm such a firm believer of living life to the fullest and telling your spouse, your siblings, your friends that you love them, because we really don't know what tomorrow holds. And then I ask myself this question: why am I going to wait for permission, for validation, when I can just create? And I didn't ask for permission to breathe. I didn't ask permission to go take a shit. So why am I going to ask permission to create and to use this medicine to help me cope and help me shed? So, obviously I couldn't take boards. I just lost my fucking father. And what do you think boards said? Do you think boards said, oh, poor thing, you? What would you like? What I would like was to reschedule my exam. You know what they said? No. You have to pay again. And if anyone's taking NCLEX, it's not $5 fucking. And hey, $5 to someone can be really expensive. This exam, it's about $500 because you have to pay. You pay one portion's $300, and then the other, that's what it is. You got to pay the testing center, and you have to pay the state $500. So I did not take my boards. I was so angry again. I was so angry at healthcare. I was cussing them out in the car, and I mean, I don't even know if I even would have passed it, to be honest with you. My brain clearly wasn't there, but the whole thing is like, okay, what is going on with this fucking system? So my dad, first thing after my father's passing, Rattlers, you know, the first thing I did was this. Oh, I went to Town Lake to go run because it didn't really hit me that my father is gone. I think just trying to be strong for my aunt and for my own well-being and for my cousins. I was really in healthcare professional mode, and I wasn't really in son mode until, I'm still going through it. But anyway, I went to the lake because I love nature, and I would go to Town Lake a lot, and I would go run there. And I went for a run. At least I tried to go for a run, and my mind still couldn't process. And I still can't process it. 3 years later, 3.5 years later, and I'm still saying, what the fuck? But this is where the spiritual connection comes in, because I feel my dad. I get goosebumps. I hear the songs that him and I will listen to on the radio. Like, my dad loved Guns N' Roses and Journey and Prince and Michael, and who else does my dad love? Queen, Al Green. So the Eagles. My dad was a rock and roller. And I think that's where I get my rock and roll side, my edgy side. My mom, however, she loved Mariah, Whitney, Boyz II Men, Missy Elliott. She also loved Prince and Michael. Anyway, so after my father passed, I went for, like I said, went for a run, but then I went to the tattoo shop. And my intuition said, get a snake tattoo. And honestly, I think that was my dad's energy saying, this is the next step. And I don't want my dad to how can I say this? I want to bring life to my dad's passing. And that's part of the reason why Rattle XR is so important to me, because maybe there's someone that is like my dad, or knows someone that's like my dad, that drinks and doesn't know where to belong, or have suppressed energy in their body, and cultivating a space that's not a club, that's not a bar, because what do you do with those things, right? 9 to 10, I don't even go to bars or clubs anymore. One, because I don't drink, and it's a different energetic field when you're around people that are drinking and then you're not drinking. And there's no judgment, it's just different. So yeah, and this is what my dad will want. My dad would want me to follow my heart. And here we are. So losing him has been very challenging, and trying not to point blame, I think, has taken time to work on, because I think the human reaction is to point fingers. Who did it? And I think at the time I was really angry with the people who were serving alcohol like it's candy, because they're not telling the world what this really does to the human body, how it's destroying you. And maybe, just maybe, if people knew what that was doing to their body, maybe they wouldn't do it. But everyone has free will, everyone has a choice. So that's another reason why I've created this space where if you just start shedding, eventually you're going to see, I don't need to put poison in my body anymore. I love myself. I don't need to put that in my body. I don't need to poison my soul. I don't need to poison my avatar to feel alive. So, boards are on hold. I don't feel safe in healthcare. The healthcare doesn't see, I feel the healthcare doesn't see gray, they just see black or white. And I want to give you, well, I say you, but my own self, this is my own purging, an example that really rattled my soul. So I got called into work, and they were short-staffed, shocker. And so I get sent to my section, and I go into the resident's room, room 210. And the patient said, "Oh my God, I'm so happy to see you. I haven't been changed in hours." And I can tell that he hasn't been changed in hours just from the stench. And rattlers, when I pulled back the sheets, I wanted to cry. Not because of how can I say it? I wanted to cry out of anger. Anger at the system, anger at the DON, anger at the management, because I'm thinking to myself, how is this allowed? How is this allowed? How is a resident covered from head to fucking toe in shit, and the shit is old? And you know what the resident said? They were short-staffed. So before you come in here, Venom, judging my ass, let me tell you what I have done for our brothers and sisters. So, of course, I'm looking. You think I have wipes ready for me? No. So now I have to search the fucking building for wipes. Wipes! This is $1 billion company. Why am I searching for wipes? Why are we short-staffed? And my other question is, where the F is the DON? Where is management? Why are we allowing this to continuously happen in healthcare? So I was so livid. And I believe I even went live and talked about it because I was so pissed. And that exact same day, this is how the healthcare works. How it works is you have to take a lunch break. And I know you're like, how the fuck do you take a lunch break when you are short-staffed, running around with your head cut off? Because here's what happens. If you don't take a lunch break, they still take it out of your paycheck. How is that even legal? How? How? So if we don't take a lunch, you're going to take it from us, right? So, and then we'll get in trouble, by the way. So what happened was I took my lunch, I went live and just kind of purged like I'm doing now. And I come back to the floor and I was already like irritated just being in that fucking building. And one of the supervisors comes up and she was like, oh, you have 2 patients at the end of the hallway. Little does she know, I already checked on those patients because that's how I operate. When I see a call late, I'm not doing this on my phone. I'm not, I'm checking on those patients. So I go check on my patient, and one of the patients, she says, I've been here for hours, which she hasn't really been there for hours. I literally just got her up right before I went to lunch. But if you're in healthcare, you know the patients that get up, and not the ones that are easy to get up, the ones that you have to get the sling for, you have to change, you have to go find help, then you get them up. And as soon as activities is over, they want to go right back to bed. Valid, she's in pain. I get that. The other resident, easy peasy, he just wanted to get in bed. So I put him in bed quickly, boom. And then the other resident, I told her, okay, you are a Warrior lift, so therefore I can't do it by myself. So I text my my coworker Jill, and I was like, girl, when you're done wherever you are, can you help me in 5 minutes put so and so back into bed? And she said yes. So I'm coming down the hallway, and here comes the supervisor. And do you already have does anyone have a supervisor that just walks around and think they're the shit and think their shit doesn't stink? And well, if you have one of those, this was my manager. And it was like, where were you? I was on lunch. Well, you have 2 residents down there that need you. And I said, really? What do they need? And she was like, one wants to get back in bed. Well, both of them want to get back in bed. And I said, well, the other one, I just put the other one in bed. And I said, the other one, she has to wait because she's a Hoyer. And she was like, oh. And my question is, why can't you do it? You are the supervisor. Excuse me, I'm sorry. You are the nurse. So you are going to allow a patient sit in pain for 30 minutes all because you're a lazy ass didn't want to put her to bed? Oh, but who am I? I'm not a nurse, right? I was livid, so livid, because CNAs, which are certified nursing assistants, they are looked down upon like the scum on our shoe, and I think it's just disgusting. Like, and I don't understand where the math is, and it's heartbreaking. I remember helping a nurse, and one of her patient, it was her patient, started digging. And what I mean by digging means digging in the booty, BM all over the fingers, and the nurse is like, oh, that's when I leave. Thank you, CNAs, you know. What? What? And you are RN? Come on. You are an RN, and you are going to just leave your aides, and you're going to let your patient just play and poo-poo, and you're not going to do nothing about it. You're just going to toss your hair out. I'm like, oh, I don't do that anymore. I'm RN. And granted, not all nurses are like that. But I can probably count 5 good nurses on my hand. And I've been in this game since I was 15, and I'm 35. Maybe 6 good nurses. But a lot of them behind the nurse's station on their phones. Girl, what are you doing this weekend? Girl, oh girl. And I'm just like, must be nice to get paid that salary and to sit on your ass. But I feel like that really happens more in, not so much in the hospital settings, but I really feel like it happens more in like nursing homes, assisted living type deal. But it happened enough where it just makes my stomach turn. And I've seen how you can give the wrong medication to a patient, and that medication can be deadly. Does anyone remember the Rhonda case? She was an RN. She worked at a hospital, actually. And of course, like I said, and I'll say it again, they have your back until they don't have your back. And really, no one in healthcare has your back. You have to have your own fucking back, and then some. Because when shit hits the fan, that is your license. So, speaking of that, I worked very hard for my license, and I remember my my partner, she was out, she was getting some surgery done, and they were having me work by myself. Shocker. But not only that, I had to get some weights on some patients, and the patients that I needed to get weights on, they were Hoyers. What I mean by Hoyer is you have to use, a machine to lift them up, and it's a 2-person job. And I'm over here scratching my fucking head thinking, where is my help? Do you think they gave me help? No. But you know what's crazy? God forbid, if one of those patients fell out of that sling, do you know who's going to be in trouble? I'll raise both of my hands. Me. They're not going to care if you were short-staffed. They're going to say, you know better. You passed boards. And so I quit my job because they kept putting me on the floor by my damn self, knowing that I need 2 people to lift these patients. I'm not risking to lose my license. And you know, another thing that really tickles my stomach is when state comes in the fucking building. And then all of these people out of the woodworks want to help answer lights, and oh, they want to engage. How are you doing today? Do you need help with anything? Oh, do you have any lights on? And you know what my venom self says? Bitch, get out of here. Because you know what's funny, Rattlers? As soon as state leaves, our extra help disappears. Vanish. How is that fair, right? So yes, we are going to pause there. We have been here in the rattle cage for 90 minutes and 45 seconds. And in today's purging was just talking about the holes in the healthcare system and how I don't feel safe in the healthcare system because I'm human. And the NCLEX is based on perfect scenario. And that's not safe to me. No, no, no. So, why am I sharing this? Because it's been boiling inside my soul for a long time, and this is the space to share it. And also share it because if there's any CNA or nurse or doctor, healthcare profession, you're not alone. And I had to put healthcare on hold because it was draining me. My body was aching. Like I'm like, how is it that we bend backwards, literally, with these beautiful souls, and we can barely afford to go see, get a nice massage? But I literally paid someone $300 for 30 minutes just to look at a toilet. How is a plumber making more than healthcare? How does that make sense? I don't get it. But anyways, that's why we're here. To rattle, to shed it. Because I can't change that. The only thing I can change is my energy. Right? Alright, rattlers, if you're feeling this medicine, consider becoming a rattler and help spark, grow the vortex, the pits of ER. Okay? All right, I will be back tomorrow. Much love. Take care.